Earth debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, Crypto and Thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil, Eli, OK Computer, and a whole bunch of people in the politics server under the Flat Earth debate bit of it. So welcome, one and all.
Hello,
Greetings.
Earthlings.
Oh, greetings. Good to be here. As I said, hopefully one of my live YouTube moderators will stick a link to the Politics Discord server so people who are watching live can actually join this discussion right here, right now, unlike the typical server that we're in. Very nice server. They host us typically on a Friday. The purpose being we put out our rhetoric, let's just say, in this particular server and how we suggest Flat Earth should be debated, which is to say there is no debate. Earth is measured flat. There is a requirement for our opponents to utilize those measurements in order to believe that they're on a globe. And if you understand this, you can take apart any argument. That's it. That's why we're here. Hopefully it'll be fun-packed for my audience and the Discord server. We shall see how it goes. For my members who will be watching the after show after the fact, you can enjoy a few zealots trying to deny the principles of elevation angles in favour of me positioning an argument that they can actually cope with. That happened quite a few times. Fun was had by all. So check it out if you're a member, or in a week's time if you subscribe to my second channel. I didn't get to tell the other guys in the Discord server, actually, when I first joined. You guys were doing really well. Very tolerant of the stupidity you had to cope with. And informed. I was very impressed. I don't know, Neil did hear some of it. What did you think, Neil? I thought they were very clued up flat earthers that I was listening to. That's how it seemed to me.
Yes.
This server's got some
Morning,
polish
guys.
on it.
Morning, morning.
Hey, Chocolate. We're in politics
Yes,
today.
chocolate.
Morning, politics. Morning, 24/7.
What's up, chocolate?
Yo, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, we're still coming. Other than the very first time we came, we've never outstayed our welcome, which is why we're still being welcomed back. Hopefully that'll continue.
Wow, Nathan, you're still here.
Is that branch guy that was really sweary in the pre-show?
I mean, Nathan, don't
Wow,
you
are
remember?
you still
like,
here? Why would I want to talk to you? I've told you I don't want to talk to you and told you to get lost, but now you're trying to engage me in conversation. I don't want to talk to you.
Branch is still around? Jeez.
I told you, your
Oh,
discussion, the discussion is beneath me. A discussion with you. Hey, Mia, did you want to add something? So yeah, that's it. I can only praise you guys for what a great job you're doing in regards to pointing out how Earth is dealt with. Answering the questions that I probably wouldn't be tolerant of, like from the lady in the discussion when I first got here. I wouldn't be tolerant of those sorts of questions. But you were. You're much more patient than I.
It's weird, Nathan. I'm just explaining. It's very strange, and you can put money on it. Any proof of globe, what a globe will come forth with, they will be probably mentioning horizontal, sea level, elevation angles, altitude above sea level. Now, these terminologies have got nothing to do with curvature, by the way, but they will be using these terminologies within their explanation of how apparently Earth curves measured,
Yeah, we had a guy in the
which I
pre-show.
find very bizarre. Sorry, Nathan. Yeah.
But a guy did it in the pre-show. He just did it in a more vague way. He was like, look, obviously Earth's flat. It's really, really big. So we see it as being flat, and that's absolutely fine.
Unless you're a giant 10,000 feet.
10,000 feet from sea level. Sea level.
See, I thought you were going to pick up on that. You let it go.
Yeah, pick your battles. I wanted them to focus on the elevation angles that none of them could address, and all of them needed to hand wave a non sequitur away from. There's not much coping going
Well,
on.
What I don't understand is why you just got finished explaining how Earth is measured flat. Someone can come in and ask you for proof of flat Earth. I mean, what's going on here?
They can't hear it. It is impossible to digest. They can't process it. It's impossible. They hear it and instantly wipe it from their memory and go, so why do you think Earth's flat then? Like I just literally told you 25 seconds ago, it's measured that way. You need those measurements for your globe belief. What part of that didn't you hear?
Neil, you say, what's going on here? You understand that that's going to happen as long as people continue to believe that they're on the outside of the spinning water ball. You get that, right? There are always going to be people that you can explain it to them, you can show them, they could see it for themselves, with their own senses. But the first thing they'll say is, well, prove to me it's flat.
No, this is different, Chocolate. He's explaining very in minute detail how it's measured flat. You can't just come in and say, any evidence? What's your proof of flat Earth?
Latitude measurements. I mean, we all use it as part of the mapping system, the grid system for navigation. Latitude. Everybody uses it to plot positions on the Earth. And it's a flat Earth elevation angle measurement. Globe proof right in your face there.
Well, you heard him saying that he was like kind of used to the whole general or the basics. So like most people have basics given to them by like YouTubers like Ty Mandan and all the other anti-flat earthers. So they're not really listening to learn anything new or have, that genuine back and forth. They really just want to play the game that has been put in front of them, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is just, look, man, it measures flat, that's that. No, people have been playing this game of let's debate all day, go to sleep, and wake up again and debate some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this ends the debate. That's why they can't play that nonsense no more. What Nathan lays down weekly here ends the debate.
No, it
So
doesn't.
not only that, they're going away from the measurements now. They don't want to talk about the latitude measurements, so they start bringing up, well, the pictures from space must be true, therefore it is a globe, because they don't want to talk about the physical measurements that we're demonstrating and putting forth to them about the mapping system and grid system of Earth. That's how it's measured. But they want to talk about a blue marble picture from a place called outer space that doesn't exist. That's where they've gone now, up in the sky.
Can you blame them for that? That's all they got, man. Listen to them. They're telling us it's too big to measure the curvature, too big to see the curvature. So, what else you got? Pictures from space.
No curvature then.
Yeah. Thanks for conceding that. Yeah, it is. You do accept it that it's flat because it's too big to see the curve. If it's too big to see the curve, how did you measure this curve that you think is there, that you think is blocking boats and buildings in the distance? How are you going to tell us there's a curve blocking boats and buildings in the distance, and at the same time tell us that it's too big to see the curve that's blocking the boats and buildings in the distance? Are you okay? Like people like that sound like they need medicine.
Yep.
Nobody's ever claimed we've measured the Earth curve.
Yeah, we debunked it in 2020. So their claim to be physical measurements that they could say, well, we know Earth's a sphere, we measure it. And then they offer up the Earth curve maths, which are calculations, and suggest that they correlate with images in a perspective view correlated with their orthographic mathematics. And they say that's a measurement. It isn't. But we debunked their claim to be measurement in 2020. Showed that the horizon could be beyond the physical geometric limitations of it as a hill in their Earth curve maths that they've been barking on about for years. So, yeah, that's it. We debunked their claim to be measurement. So now let's look at the actual measurement. How is Earth measured? Well, it's measured with respect to the positions on the ground for the stars. Ground positions. Angles to the stars give us those ground positions. We're measuring angles off a flat plane. That's how it's all made, including the globe. But they don't want to hear it. They wanted it to be, what, we've got Earth curve from Earth curve maths? No, afraid not.
Now, what happened this morning, Nathan, was you were explaining to that one guy how the world was measured flat, how new worlds were discovered, but now they're going to the sky for the new worlds. And that got people very angry.
Oh, is that what you think triggered them all?
Absolutely. They came in succession, right? One after the other. They couldn't even wait to get in. They were rumpusing each other.
Fair enough. Yeah, there was a lot of white knighting after that particular argumentation point came up. So for the audience's benefit, we were being asked, or I was being asked specifically, about ice walls and edges, as you'd expect, feast of nonsense regurgitation, from the great unwashed that are globe believers. And in response, I pointed out that we already have a historic standard where we navigated the Earth flat, with a known territory that didn't include known worlds, new worlds. And then after a point, we discovered the new worlds and found our way home with the elevation angle measurements on a flat plane. So then the maps expand. Well, what we currently have is a situation like 500 years ago, let's just say, where on the map there's a wall around the known territory. And someone comes along and says, well, prove there's a wall. You know, I don't know if there's a wall or not. Why would I be arguing about a wall? But there could be more land. Well, I don't know. Well, shall we go and have a look? Yeah, let's go to outer space. The area beyond the horizon. The unknown territories. And what do you know? They found new worlds. Negotiating, mapping, and charting the world flat. Sailing on it flat. Navigating it flat with the stars. Then they found the new worlds, expanded out the maps, and that's our recent history of the expansion of the territory. Flat. So what do we get asked from the Feast of Nonsense table? What's beyond Antarctica? Why do I need to refer to areas that apparently are undiscovered and uncharted, when we've already shown the expansion of the known territory in recent history? It comports to every single flat earth proof that I lay down currently, and it is historically accurate and factual. There's no getting around it. How they navigated is how they navigated. How they measured it is how they measured it. And how they expanded the territories into unknown, uncharted lands called outer space beyond the horizon was what they did. That's a fact. Then what? Then we are told that outer space isn't the area beyond the horizon, it's the area in the sky, and that the fruitful new worlds that had endless benefits and resources to mine. No. We won't carry on out towards the horizon to find the new worlds like we did before. The new worlds are those lights in the sky. That's where all the soil is. Oh, well, let's go there then. Oh, no. If we take the angle measurements of those stars and extrapolate them out into orbital motion, and then derive an AU value for the distance to the sun based on a scale done by Huygens, we can say that they're really, really, really far. And you'd never get to those new lands with soil in the sky. What's that you say? We used to find new worlds? No, let's not focus on that. What's beyond Antarctica if you say it's flat? That's how this scam works. Let's not focus on the recent history and expansion of the known territory flat. Let's focus on what we don't know about and ask flat earthers to justify it. Yeah, very slick. 10 years ago.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Should we have the discussion again? About the moon? And how the
No,
perspective
about
that
elevation
we
angle
see is
measurements.
on
No,
a
not
plane?
about your scattergun non sequitur. 7th attempt to non sequitur away from elevation angle measurements. I've just literally gone on a little description for the audience and for this server's benefit. And you think that the response to that is to go straight back onto your non sequitur I already dealt with orientation to the moon. No, Earth's measured flat with elevation angles. Your globe requires it. Deal with it, or get lost.
How about this? How about that, son? If you concede to the perspective, then we can talk about elevation angles. How about that? Just
Concede to
that
Jack.
you
I
can't,
don't
you can't
need
explain
to.
perspective.
No, it's not conditional. Don't need to concede to anything. I'll just reiterate my point because I've won. So let's see if he chants through it. No, I don't need to concede to this, Dix. Yes, immediately chanting through it. He's asked me something, I'm responding. No, I absolutely won't accept his conditional requirement. I will not be giving him Jack. I've already proved Earth's measured flat, and I've stated unequivocally he requires that flat Earth measurement for his globe belief. I've said it 8 times. He can offer me something conditional, so that what, if I definitely do go on to a perspective that I didn't mention, we can talk about the angles afterward. No, I'll just reiterate my winning point that you won't address 8 times, rather than accepting your conditions. Definitely not.
You did, you know what's crazy? You did actually address the perspective. You talked about a smiley face and walking across the moon.
Can you stop this guy from talking to me, please? It
That you
seems
were
like he's
done
just
for,
told me
so
how
you
I did
stopped
talk about the
talking
non
it.
sequitur that he's going to focus on regardless of my point. It's the 9th time. Elevation angle measurements prove Earth's measured flat. He's not going to address it, and in spite of me saying absolutely not, he's going to start talking about it in spite of my demands that he addresses my point, which is now getting talked through. Earth's measured flat, all it's going to get is non sequiturs, because I've already addressed his point. Now he's saying, well, because you've already addressed it, I'm going to talk about it again, rinse and repeat styley, so I can ignore the elevation angle measurements of a flat Earth. It's been 9 times. I've already told the moderators I don't want to talk to you. I don't know what they think you're going to offer. You're a one-trick pony.
It's interesting that you say I'm a one-trick pony because all you ever talk about is elevation angles. But when you're asked about something else that you really don't know about because you're uneducated on the subject
you
matter,
don't know about it either, Matt. Shut up, dude.
Now he's ad hominem me. Has he divined what I know and don't know? He doesn't know. It's an ad hominem. He's using fallacy against me. So rather than addressing the elevation angle measurements, he's tried to undermine them by saying all you do is talk about elevation angle measurements. Wouldn't that be a reason to address them if it's all I've talked about? No, of course not. It's just a way of undermining it. And then ad hominem me by telling me what I think and know. Because he's divined my thoughts with his crystal ball. No, it's just a personal attack, undermining the argument, making it an ad hominem fallacy. So I've now addressed his points. I mean, it's only the 10th interaction with him where we won't get to the elevation angles that apparently I've just been going on and on about. What, citing them and proving them and showing them how they work and how they wrap around the globe is me going on and on about them. Again, a pathetic attempt to undermine the winning argument and then move on to perspective because I've already dealt with it. Well, actually, you did deal with my non sequitur already, so I'm going to talk about it again rather than address the elevation angles that require a flat Earth to measure. And we've done it 10 times. Don't want to do it anymore. That literally is it. I'm tired of this guy. I've done it 10 times now. I've counted them off for you. Moderators, 10's enough, please.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And that wasn't perspective. That was a change in orientation.
Yes,
sometimes idiots are useful.
Sure, but often in my own server, I can end it whenever I like. Here I can't. But for the audience's benefit, I've had the same thing from him 10 times. So when people tune in on the bit where I've done it for an hour and a half and it's on the 25th time and I'm still counting them off and we're never getting to the actual point that's been addressed, it's always and only the obfuscation. And how can I weasel this in? And if I do it 25 times, hopefully we're far enough away from the original assertion. That's their only tactic. So when you get to about 10, you're like, okay, I think the audience gets it. Yeah? He doesn't want to address the flat Earth measurement. We get it. At all costs, avoid it and undermine it. Yeah, we get it. We've had it 10 times. Meanwhile, Earth's measured flat. It's all I talk about. What, the way Earth's measured flat and that? Yeah, it's all I talk about, I know. Maybe you'd like to address it. Anybody at all? Or you could just attempt to undermine it by saying, wow, that's all you talk about. Let's talk about something else that isn't Earth being measured flat for my globe belief.
The globers will talk about it. When they try to describe how globes measured, they'll be actually describing a flat Earth. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's much easier if we're not here to point out that they're measuring a flat Earth as the genesis of their claim. If they can use a flat Earth to measure and then make their globe claim, they can almost hand-wave the fact that they're to measure Earth flat to get there. Us being here is very awkward. Stop! You measured Earth flat. Well, yeah, but it's only because it's so big. So you measured Earth flat then. End of argument. Earth measured flat. No, let me explain my apologies. 20 times. It's really big. Okay, measuring it flat though.
A little bit of flat Earth, all I need.
And then they say, well, we're not using the surface of Earth when we use a bubble sextant. You're still using horizontal, aren't you? I thought you was trying to prove curvature, which you've not mentioned ever. All you mentioned is horizontal level angles, altitude levels above sea level. Well, I use a tangent line. Well, that's not curved, is it either? When are you going to mention curvature and how you measure curvature? Because you never do.
Oh, well, they do eventually. They eventually beg the question a bit. Like with the guy earlier in the pre-show. Well, if I assume antipodal positioning, then when I observe the moon, I'm like, that's a straight begging the question fallacy. If I assume that I'm on the bottom of a ball, then I'm on the bottom of a ball. I gave a banana as an example. Was it acknowledged? No. He wants to bring up his perspective example. I pointed out it's using a begging the question fallacy. Yeah, I used a banana. Again, this was in one of the 10 renditions that didn't get to the elevation angle measurement that proves Earth's measured flat. It was just the antipodal assumption. And then he stacked it up in false dichotomy, didn't he? Well, if I stack on another layer of if I put the globe that I'm assuming against a flat Earth, it's like, no, that's a false dichotomy fallacy with a begging the question fallacy. It's like, so it goes on. Never will we get to the Earth being measured flat for this begging the question fallacy to take place. In order for you to assume you're antipodal, you'd need something to be antipodal with respect to, and that's the model of a globe Earth that comes from these flat Earth measurements you can't address.
I'm sorry, Nathan. Did you say perspective before?
Yeah, as a non sequitur, as he got his hooks in you.
Perspective, the thing that when we first started this, Globers would tell us doesn't actually exist. That's funny. I'm curious. Is perspective included in their Glober math?
No.
Oh, strange.
Yeah, they'll appear to it when they need to. I mean, perspective is described with a flat plane also. I mean, I wasn't going to get into that. You know, it's throwing it out there as chaff. So he doesn't have to address elevation angles. I couldn't give a crap about perspective. If I was arguing perspective, I'd be describing that with a flat plane too, but I'm not. I'm describing something that fundamentally makes the globe exist. Now, I can explain how Earth curve maths hijacks perspective and calls it Earth curve as a different argument. But that's not today, is it? Today we're talking about how the globe comes to fruition with the latitude lines that are wrapped around it and measured flat. We'll never get it addressed because it undermines the premise that they're on a globe. If they can ignore it and ask about how perspective works, maybe they'll be able to weasel in a win from that. They won't. That needs flat Earth too. Everything does. All roads lead to a flat Earth.
Well, I just
my mind. Sorry,
I like to keep. Sorry, bro. Real quick. I just asked because I like to keep track of progression of the responses we get because, like I said, we were told like 8, 9, 10 years ago that perspective doesn't actually exist, flat earther. That's something that's used in art class, flat earther. Right? All of a sudden, now perspective is a thing that you guys can assert. Interesting how things change, huh?
Like I said last week, though, Chocolate, when I wrote it down, it's like it blew my mind how they hijacked the perspective of the celestial dome heavens to then bring down the perspective of a curved dome down to a flat Earth, to then create a globe model that doesn't account for perspective and replaces perspective with curvature when perspective was used in the first instance to create the non-perspective Earth curve model. How bizarre.
This is it for
That's
the
a good
audience's benefit. So this is the equatorial plane. And the protractor view that was just described by one deck becomes the globe. So you're standing at the middle of this. Sorry, it's not the equatorial plane, it's the celestial plane. The equatorial plane is inside this globe. So you're standing on. Rephrase that more carefully. You're standing in this globe, and the globe is a glorified protractor view. And this celestial hemisphere is the flat plane and the representation of the stars that you get if you measure them from 0 to 180. So you can't stand inside a globe, but you can project out PZX triangles from the centre of hell to infer, with the Haversine conversion, that you have a globe projected through the points and angles that you measure the stars with. So you're measuring this flat baseline, that's a flat Earth, from hell to the stars in the celestial sphere representation, originally derived from the ephemeris. So flat Earth measurements is how you create the globe inside the celestial sphere with two antipodal flat Earth representations of 2 points, one that doesn't really exist and one that does, in the sky. all measured with parallel planes. So it's the angle to the sky parallel with the ground that gives you these measurements. You can then take them and plot them on essentially the hemispherical view of the protractor itself. So the lines that you see the star at, if you imagine looking out your window at a nighttime view of a star that's at 45 degrees from your position, you're just looking up at a star. Well, that represents a flat plane of the sky and a flat plane of the ground with a 45-degree angle between them. And then after you've measured it, you can plot it on the protractor that you measured it through. That's what gives you the hemispherical view of the heavens, otherwise known as the celestial hemisphere for the north and celestial hemisphere for the south, combined to make the celestial sphere, with the globe Earth, effectively just a glorified protractor inside it, with you inside the globe in hell, measuring off the equatorial and extended celestial planes. Both of the flat Earth that represents the ground we actually measure. You can't be in hell to measure angles. Earth is measured flat. They've hijacked those measurements and turned the surface into the protractor you measured them with. That's all they've done.
And the Greeks all knew that.
Fascinating stuff. As I said, you'd think the globers would be grateful we're giving them an advanced knowledge of their globe and how it was made. They won't be grateful. They'll ask me how I believe in a flat Earth. It's like what the one I've just explained how your globe is made from. Like, you understand how your globe's made from them?
There'll be a bunch of ingrates.
One more time?
I said they'll be ingrateful, like an ingrate.
That's belligerence, I think. Yeah?
Yeah. It's like the worst thing you can do is like someone offers you kindness and you abuse that. Like the whole world is cruel, abusive place. And here's a space to have an actual conversation and they won't do it. They'll be belligerent.
You tend to find that some people like being abused. You know, they actually want to be told what is what and how to think. And if that is in any way challenged, they would rather direct their efforts at stopping someone else from allowing them to conform, allowing them to just accept information based on belief, and oppose things like measurements if they defy that which they've been given.
Not to mention opposing the damn senses that have told them nothing but you live on a flat stationary plane all your life. But yeah, let's use imagination. Pretend that my senses are telling me that I live on the outside of a spinning magical water ball flying around in a vacuum. That checks out.
We don't need measurements. We just need pictures from outer space.
Oh, like my man said, I'd rather a model than measurements. Okay.
Who in this server's on the fence, as opposed to a staunch anti-flat earther / globe believer? Anybody here because they're like, I don't really know and I'd like to find out?
Reality Man, Raiden, I think he goes by. He's talked about that he's like on the fence. He doesn't know. But he doesn't know much of anything, though. That's another problem. Like, his epistemology is that nothing is really ever knowable.
How does he know that?
I was waiting for it. That's oxymoronic. Okay, fine.
Is he still here?
No, he's not here.
Oh, bummer.
Anybody else? I preface it that if you're on the fence so that you don't have to feel like you're obliged to defend the globe.
And we can have a decent conversation. It doesn't have to go the wrong way, right? If we sound slightly hostile, it's just because, hey, it's been about 10 years for some of us just getting called names for not believing we live on a ball, right? But that's what we're here for. We're here to have the conversation. It doesn't have to go the wrong way.
Yeah, obviously we can only have the conversation if we put down a fact and cite it. You have to actually acknowledge it rather than try and change the subject. You know, that's not really a reasonable conversation now, is it? It's amazing the contrast from when I first joined the server early this morning. For me. Actually not, I'm in the middle of the day, but doesn't really matter. Earlier on. There's such bravado from the Globe believers. One by one, they all get shut down and shown to be zealots. And then that's it, silence. So it's only the extremists. Yeah? Perhaps it's just the people on the fence aren't on the fence and really do want to retain that Globe faith. Therefore, better not open their mouths. Who knows? Maybe this is a server full of flat earthers now.
But everyone's a flat earther, aren't they? Because that's how we manage ourselves on the earth. That's how all engineering's performed. Navigation, travel, engineering, building. It's all dealt with flat and horizontal and level in everyday life.
Yeah, it's measured, navigated, aviated, obviously, and observably flat. Today we've covered mapped and charted. Expanded out through history. Flat. I also had the why would they lie about space chocolate? I'd just literally gone through the expansion of the known territories into what was formerly known as outer space, the areas beyond the horizon where the new worlds were found. Then I explained that we reach a point in history where no, space isn't the area beyond the horizon, now it's the sky. Like, well, why would they lie about there being a sky vacuum and being on a ball? I'm like, I just literally explained it to you. They can't hear it. That's the problem. I don't know what there's a mental block or something. Sorry, Chocolate, go ahead.
Why would they lie? Why would they lie?
Called an appeal to motivation fallacy. Who cares? If you're going to spend your whole time trying to negotiate with the psychopath about why they're gaslighting you, they'll just gaslight you more. That's all they'll do. People delude themselves that the people who deceive them will... Go ahead, Chocolate, sorry.
But yeah, that's why we made a song about it. Check it out. I'm sure somebody can post it if you haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, called Why Would They Lie? Such a common question over the 10 years. It's like, why do you care? Once you figure out that the person you're dealing with is a liar, do you then spend the rest of your life hanging around with them trying to justify it? Or do you just turn your back on them? Well, it depends, right? Some people are stupid. Does NASA come much in this server?
Yeah, daily, all of the time.
All right. No one want to talk about NASA? We never talk about it. Completely pointless. Figured out they've lied.
They want us to explain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They want us to explain it. No, I do apologise. They want us to explain everything. As soon as we point out the Earth is measured flat, if that's the first question, if they ask for proof and we demonstrate it is, then they want us to explain everything else. The moon, satellites, all of these stories, and most definitely why would they lie about it? We spend a lot of time in this. It's an open 24/7 forum, so people get to come in and say what they want, but it always goes off in these tracks. Very seldomly do we say on the Earth measured flat bit, because straight after you demonstrate that, it's tell me about the moon. Why would they lie?
Yeah, appeal to motivation. Who cares? Once you show how it's measured, once you debunk their claims of sky vacuums, that's it. You don't have to justify what the sky is. I don't know. What's that? That means that it's still the sky vacuum. No? You don't have to replace the debunked ideas you had about the sky. Coping with the idea that you had being relinquished isn't my problem. I'm not going to replace it with some nonsense. Plenty of other flat earthers will replace it, though. There's loads of them. They'll give you their guru nonsense about what the sky is. Yeah? They'll tell you it's ether. They'll tell you there's free energy generation coming from that sky. Yeah? It's not soil. Free energy. Yeah, people will bullshit you after you find out that you've been lied to. Me, I'll go, I don't know, because it's true. I don't. I know there's lots of lies, and I know how to undo them, but I haven't got any replacements for you. Now, if that means you reject the facts of the matter when it comes to what you believed in, I don't care. You don't have to accept facts. You can carry on with your belief. Why? Because I haven't replaced it? Well, that's a good enough reason for you to keep hold of it, then more power to you. Keep hold of your sky vacuum belief in violation of the second law of thermodynamics because I can't replace it with something else like ether. Oh well. Just believe you're on a ball then. That's good for you. So no one going to throw pictures from space today then? Clearly not. They know better. I suppose this must be quite nice for the moderators. Everything goes quite chill on a Friday afternoon now.
That's up until you leave, and then they come out of the woodwork again. They're afraid of you now.
Oh, really? It sounds familiar. See, when it was my server, it isn't, but presumed to be my server. I do have moderation control in, to be fair. They were told that it was my unreasonable behaviour that meant that they didn't want to pipe up. Yeah, we all knew the projected fear that they were actually encountering, and me being here on a server that I definitely have absolutely no control over whatsoever, I'm a guest, highlights their fear as they scurry away until I leave. Yeah? Everyone was like, you don't leave your echo chamber. Here I am. Where are you all with your NASA claims? Right? Oh, you got nothing? Maybe you'll boycott this channel that I've got no association with beyond being a guest here. Yeah, this is the same pattern we experienced before. It's just they had a mute button to blame last time. Now they don't have that. It's just total silence. A few of them still blame the mute button I've got no control over. You're all terrified. Yeah? We all know it. It's been this way for 10 years. We've been saying for about the last 5 years, share your pain. Because we all know what's really going on here. You, on the globe side of this discussion, especially if you're an anti-flat earther, live in perpetual fear. It consumes you. We know it. You know it. You just don't want to talk about it. It'd be better projected onto us, right? No, I guess not. I guess you just have to come in and hear all the globe proof after I'm gone. Well, this is a lot more relaxing for me. I'm not going to say I'm complaining. This is how it should be. Nice and calm, with us being able to tell an audience Earth is measured flat. If you're in the audience and you're under the misapprehension that you're on a ball, well, you can have an advanced education in how your ball came to fruition now, can't you? How those elevation angle measurements to the stars that we expanded the territory flat with became your ball. I mean, it's not like you can measure those lines wrapped around it with respect to a curve. They're angles. But that's how your ball came to fruition. So everyone's a winner. Everyone gets to know a little bit more about their religious belief or how actually we measure Earth. Yeah, but everyone's happy, which is just how it should be. Obviously, there's going to be the odd chanting zealot that comes our way, like we've experienced. 10-time rendition of a address to perspective that I've been talking about. No, apparently I'll talk about nothing else other than elevation angles that aren't getting addressed. But you know, as the audience, you know as the Discord server, what Earth really is. Because we told you. The only downside to that is there's a lot of scumbags in the world that will choose to ridicule your ass because you've got an advanced understanding of how your globe came to fruition. I mean, that's just unfortunate, but people are scumbags. You know, their fear leads them to ridicule others by projection. Sad, but that's society, not flat Earth. That's people.
They really don't like the latitude. I feel that's really sort of hitting home with the these globers and anti-flat earthers. They don't like that when we point out that latitude is a flat Earth elevation angle measurement. That is a killer.
Yeah, they hate it.
One guy was telling me, say, well, it proves it's a globe because it's a measurement from the equator to Polaris. I said, well, how do you think we got the distance to the equator in the first place? It was an elevation angle measurement. It was a flat Earth elevation measurement, and you're talking about that distance now being curve. They just get wrapped up in it. They don't know what they're talking about.
There's no coping with it. There's no curving anything when you're measuring angles. And when they say from the equator, you're like, right, what, with respect to the equatorial plane? Yeah, yeah. The flat plane inside the globe. Yeah, yeah. We're well aware of how your model's made. But half of them are being trained in this stuff, right? They go for a little search on the internet about what flat Earth is, and all they get shown is what anti-flat Earthers say flat Earthers say. So at the moment, they'll come across things like the final experiment from Will Duffy and think that the way to solve this problem is to do what the guy who did earlier. Offer up a begging the question fallacy, where you assume antipodal positioning, and then stack it up in false dichotomy with an azimuthal globe projection against this antipodal assumption. You're like, because that's all they'll get as the general public, they'll think that that's a good argument. And when I'm stopping them going, shut up with your globe false dichotomy and begging the question, they think they're being interrupted unjustly. Oh, this guy's just chanting through me. No, I've stopped you because you're using a false dichotomy and I'm just not going to let you continue. Yeah, I've heard it for 10 years. Think you're special, do you? You're offering up your false dichotomy with what a flat earth will do versus what I can assume is antipodal. No, we've heard it all so many times that I can summarise it in about 3 sentences. Yeah, and I will just stop you, just talk straight through you. Completely justified in doing so. Don't offer fallacies and you won't get shut down. Attempting to shut me down because you don't like me concluding how Earth's measured flat, no, that's not reasonable. It seemed like there was a whole crowd of globe believers. Was it just the 2 or 3 making the most noise then?
Oh, in the pre-show? Yeah, it was about 3, I think.
It was just people shouting and screaming as loud as they can that Earth's a globe and being quite obnoxious and swearing a lot, so that everyone around them thinks that's the default position because they're the one shouting loudest. But when it actually comes to push comes to shove, they don't actually have anything other than to obfuscate the flat Earth measurements that are put to them by one of us. In this case, me.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, as demonstrated by the 3 people that had, Matt Nuclear, Mountain, and so on. Just keep talking through the answers to the questions that I've asked with something completely irrelevant.
Thing is, though, by the time those 3 people have had the most noise and airtime, the people who are potentially on the fence are too afraid to open their mic. And rightly so, you know, the mood has been set by these arseholes. And as a result, you can only assume if you're sat on the fence thinking, well, I would actually like to answer this question, but I don't want to be shouted down as big in the question. Shout out to FE Patriot for the super chat. It says, space is a waste of the imagination. What an excellent sentiment. It is just in existence in your imagination, FE Patriot. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's a great little sentence. Space is a waste of the imagination. Yeah. Excellent.
We have a chat skanker, but he's afraid to go into voice. He says he doesn't speak English, but he types it perfectly.
This all sound familiar, lads on the G Plus panel? After a given amount of time, all we're dealing with is the chat skanks from the chat, too afraid to come in, making their excuses.
He wants me to ask his question to you, and then you can answer. And I said, "How? You're not even in voice. How would you hear the answer?" So it's just chat skank.
There are people in voice. You know, there's people in voice chat already. If you are in the voice chat and you did want to ask a question, it doesn't automatically mean we're going to bite your head off if you happen to use a fallacy that you were unaware of. Yeah, it's only after about the 9th rendition that you're getting your head bitten off. Don't be afraid. Yeah, the Western world is under the impression that we're all idiots. Yeah, here we are. Globe believers stunned to silence. And us reiterating over and over again how Earth's measured flat. Yeah, obviously we're worthy of the high degree of ridicule. If that wasn't propagandized into the Western world's viewpoint, They wouldn't be able to automatically hand wave everything we say. You want to add something? Is it Anata Chamber or something like that?
Can all 40 of you do me a favor in here?
All four
Please
of
stop.
He dropped before
It
he
was a
asked us what-
drive-by shooting. Yeah, there's a drive-by. He's gone.
Oh, is he a frequent flyer?
Hop in, say something before they get the red mic for 40 minutes in the rest of the server.
I don't really know what that means, but I'll just take your word that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, so when we red mic them, they're done for 40 minutes unless we unmute them, and they go into another room with a red mic.
Okay. Was he not going to ask a question though?
Left.
No, he was the type of idiot who just takes a couple of seconds of airtime, thinks he's clever, then buggers off. So
Yeah, his question was a request to stop. He did it yesterday too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's very telling though. Just stop is a call. That's the word. A cry for help. Just make it stop. We've covered a few videos in the past where the videographer is expressing the exact same sentiment. Just make it stop. Just stop them. Just stop them. Stop them talking about this flight. I can't stand it. Yeah, that's share your pain moment. Just make it stop. What? The globe measurements that you use taken from a flat Earth. Make that stop. I can't make that stop. That's how your globe was made. What do you want me to stop? The origins of you don't shoot the messenger. I can't help it that your globe was measured flat.
Thing is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking questions, but that's all they tend to do. Come in and ask questions. When what we want is then you're saying that you live on a globe and you can provide some evidence. Please attempt to do that. But I'll put money on it that when you do, you will be describing a flat Earth elevation angle measurement in an attempt to describe how your curved Earth was measured. So stop asking questions and come and tell us how your curved Earth is measured. What tool was used? How's it? What method is used? Without mentioning horizontal, level, elevation angle, altitude above sea level. Can't use any of them because that's got nothing to do with measuring curvature.
Oh, well, then you just shut me down. I was going to give an example that comported with everything until you stopped me using lots of flat Earth prerequisites. I was going to say the horizon at altitude with respect to the Earth curve maths is the methodology. But then you went and said, oh, you can't use a flat Earth. Well, I can't use eye level, and then I can't use surface level. How am I going to derive Earth curve in orthographic mathematics if I can't use a flat Earth to do it? You've just rumbled every single thing I was going to say on their behalf. Well done. Too many caveats for me to cope with. I think I should rumpus you and ignore that. Shut up, you're an idiot. You just babbled on about things that were flat Earth in nature that the globe needs. Meaningless. Now, let's talk about perspective. A good job. I love a good caveat statement, or a statement with lots of caveats. Yeah, prove how your Earth curve is measured. Measured physically, not calculated and reified from flat Earth measurements, like you do in your Earth curve maths. Not like that. Well, they've got nowhere to go now, one deck. Like, all roads lead to a flat Earth. Any claim that comes our way that suggests the Earth has sphericity to it, we can take you to the origins of that claim and show you how Earth was measured flat to make it. Doesn't matter what the claim is. Orbital motion, sky vacuums, gravity, anything. You name it, it will have a flat Earth origin.
On yesterday's show, you were doing a review with the guy on YouTube. You went off into a reply with regards to how Earth's measured flat, how we get our longitude and latitude system. Hal are derived from elevation angles to Polaris. How from when you move south looking at Polaris, your latitude will decrease in number because of the angle that you read from a flat surface. You pointed that out, and you kind of said it really eloquently. And you mentioned something about the Haversine formula, but I don't remember you going into too much detail about that. I wonder if you could tell me and maybe everybody else what the Haversine formula is and what it means with regards to the changing from a flat Earth to a globe Earth,
Sure.
if it does.
Yes and no. If you're asking me to go through the Haversine mathematics, then Adam would be best served to do that, because I am absolutely unfamiliar with them. But in terms of what it actually functionally does, it converts the view from the centre of Hal out onto a projected view. So the points that match the stars in the celestial sphere can be projected through a globe Earth. But to convert from merely a equatorial plane, you need to actually convert those points onto those pizza slices that they call PZX triangles. Well, those are projected points that match azimuth and altitude through a globe from the centre. But to get to that, that's where you do the conversion with the Haversine formula. It's above my grade. I'm not embarrassed to say the mathematics itself is above my pay grade. It is.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. It would probably be well above my pay grade, even if you did know what it was. And if
Adam
could like to go for it, then yeah, I can speak to Adam.
I'm not saying you wouldn't understand it. Don't take that the wrong way. I'm saying it has been explained to me by Adam, and while he was explaining it to me, actually, I think it might have been John. Actually, refracted curvature went through it with me, not Adam. It doesn't matter either way. Someone's smarter than me when it comes to maths, and I could easily nod along. And while he was explaining it, feel like I understood it. The maths, specifically. However, could I give you a rendition of it now? No. If he went through it again, would I be nodding like I understood it? Yes. But I'm not that man. It's Adam or someone else better with maths to explain it to you. Beyond the crude explanation I've given you of PZX triangles, which is the end result.
Yeah, I'm interested in what it does at the end of the day anyway. So what you said was more than perfect for the question that I asked.
In the most
this is what it does.
What it does, in the most literal terms, is converts flat to spherical.
Awesome. Now, this is where the magic happens then.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, that it's easy to just explain what's in a literal sense happened with Polaris and latitude lines, because they are literally on the outside edge of that sphere, depicted and used because they're part of the grid that gets projected onto the flat maps. So for me, there's a nice little shortcut. Now, is the maths for conversion from flat to sphere as simplistic as just dropping the lines around on a ball? Well, no. And do I, or could I, explain that to you now? Well, no. But there is a process, and what it, to answer your question, does is convert the flat measurements to spherical ones. That's literally what it does. Now, back in the day when we first came across this, our question was, if Earth is a sphere, because we were still begging the question with them then, why would you need to convert from flat to sphere? If it's already a sphere, you wouldn't convert to spherical if it's a sphere, but that is what it does.
Plus, as well, guys, that them circles from 90 degree at Polaris back to the equator, they're all circles of equal altitude. So that will require a flat horizontal plane.
Sorry to interrupt. 100 people watching. Woo-hoo-hoo! Please share the show if you've not done so already. A very warm welcome if you've just joined us. Nice to have 100 plus people watching. Good to have you all.
But thanks, Nathan. I do really appreciate that answer. At least I
didn't give you anything.
Well, you told me what it does. That's really what I wanted to know.
Converts flat to sphere.
Yeah, awesome. So we measure everything up until this point until we bring in this magical mathematical calculation based on our presupposition and sphere. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Jedi. I mean, if you was measuring something in reality, in physical reality, why would you then need a formula to change the measurement that you've just measured?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't, would you?
Yeah, this is a sleight of hand bit, isn't it? Mathematical calculations. Whoa, sphere. Ta-da!
Yeah, after the fact, you can then make up justifications for parallel light. And the parallel light, whenever you hear that, there's only one reason to do that. and that's to take an inferred elevation angle measurement off a curved surface, which cannot take place. That'll be potentially intertwined with Earth so big we measure it flat for the angle. That's us measuring Earth flat. But then when they suggest that you've got parallel light rays meeting a tangent plane, that's their justification to take the light that wouldn't make any difference if it was moving to the surface of this tiny little dot called Earth with respect to the vast distances, actually infinite for this to work. It's no longer their set distances. I'll just drop that in there. But for that to function, they suggest that it's just as reasonable to move the angle to the centre of the sphere Earth at the equatorial and extended celestial planes. But that's the only reason they do that. It's like it can only work on a flat plane, so they just put that flat plane in the centre of hell. But to suggest, after they've converted it, that you can actually acquire this measurement to put it in the centre of hell, they suggest that all the light's coming in the oxymoronic statement of almost parallel, which always makes me laugh. Anyway, that's the full shebango. I'm being asked about Haversine formula, QE, and I've told Jedi that it converts flat to sphere, but I'm no good with the maths itself and wouldn't even attempt to explain the maths itself of Haversine. Are you any good with that? It's too early. I'm not even listening. Oh, well, okay. Well, maybe Adam will do something when and if he comes. Alrighty then.
It's always fascinating, the mathematics, like hijacking the perspective within the Earth curve calculator, how they change flat Earth measurements into a globe with the Haversine formula. I find it really fascinating, dude. That's all.
Me too.
How they lied, but they did.
I completely agree. I mean, but for the fact that someone like Adam or Refracted Curvature or QE has gone through this stuff with me, so I can cement the basic premise of what's taking place, which is exactly what you asked. And you do have to either be competent enough, which I'm not, to go through the maths yourself, or have someone break it down for you. But upon that, you're like, well, now I know better. I know how the conversion's done. I know why it's needed to be done, because Earth isn't a sphere. And then you can kind of move on. But, you know, for you, it's like, well, wow, how does the maths work? Because you haven't had the luxury of someone like Adam sat next to you, or John sat next to you.
I'll definitely have to catch up with one of those guys at some point. Maybe I'll ask Quantum Arrays if he has some spare time on 24 when he visits, if he hasn't got the time now.
My advice would be ask a baller. So what Adam Meakin did was just ask Ruhif, I believe. It might have been someone else, but please just say it's Ruhif. You know, to take him through it and let them explain how you convert flat to spherical. You know, if they understand it, they'll explain it to you. You know, they'll pepper it with their disclaimers of how that doesn't mean it's flat, but it works the way it works. You know, it's not ambiguous in how it works from memory.
I'll add it to my quiver of questions that I go around and ask ballers to. We've got a lot of frequent flyers, people that come back and try to stand on a hill and defend this ball for some reason with, you know, quite eloquent arguments in some regards. So I'll ask them to quite a few of our known compatriots on the globe side.
Cool. Have you got a quantum eraser live today, QE? Does he normally do? Oh, God. Does anybody know if there's a QE live show today? You're all useless.
Is it weekends, mostly?
It's tomorrow.
Is it
Yeah,
no, that's
Saturday.
Ballbusters. Ballbusters is tomorrow.
Oh.
I think there might be a quantum eraser live tonight. I might be wrong.
There was an ad, or one of your guys posted something in here, so there might be today.
I'll plug it like it's happening. If it isn't, then go and watch one of these other shows. But I believe there's a quantum eraser live. What does he call it? Open panel or something like that. He's not here to confirm any of this, so I'm doing a terrible job of plugging his show. But I believe it's at 7 o'clock UK, or I'm going to say 1 p.m. UK. US Central. So be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. There'll be a live stream similar to what we're doing here in the politics server, but from the Flat Earth Debate Discord server and on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel.
Yeah, but going back to that, there's always a mathematical formula to convert the straight line horizontal elevation angle measurement, or there's a presupposition that you already live on a sphere, you know, like the Greeks did when they measured angles and shadows and then divided a 7.2 angle into 360 degrees, and because that's the, you know, 360 degrees within a sphere, and obviously the Earth's a sphere, and that's why we're doing that. We're just going to presume that we live on a sphere and do some division and multiplication and come up with a circumference value. Measuring angles.
Sorry, what was the first thing they measured?
An angle.
An
off
angle.
The surface of Earth.
An angle off a flat Earth.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see.
Quite telling, isn't it?
One of the best quotes that we were ever told directly to us was by Rumpus. The geometric horizon only exists in the math. What's the geometric horizon again?
Earth curve.
Oh, okay. So, to paraphrase, the Earth curve only exists in the math.
That's correct, and it is never a truer statement. Yes, Earth curve only exists in maths. It doesn't exist in physical reality. And if you assert that it does, we can debunk it based on what the horizon claimed to be Earth curve physically does. You can't move hills. Hills don't move. If they're physically in the way of things, they stay there because they're hills. Earth curve edge horizons are claimed to be the proof of measurement of Earth. If we show that the physical limitation to your view, claimed to be a hill, is beyond its geometric limitations, as we showed with the Black Swan, then it's no longer a hill. Now you can say, well, the reason it's not blocking you, it's like, well, no. You're now justifying why it isn't a hill in the way. It's not a hill in the way. It's not Earth curve. We debunked it.
It's funny. Remember ages ago, Nathan, when we brought up the if somebody's looking into the what shape is the Earth and how is it measured, and you get the 7 proofs, sorry, I just cut out there. When you get the 7 proofs of how we know we live on a globe, only one of them is describing a measurement, and that's Eratosthenes' example, which is nothing to do with measuring a curve anyway. That's measuring an angle and doing some mathematical trickery, which we've just talked about. And all the other examples are, it was climatry, pictures from the ISS, eclipses, sunset. It was nothing to do with measurement. It was just, and the boats obviously disappearing as they get further away into the distance. So there was only one example of a measurement, and that was a flat Earth measurement. The others were just observations and presuppositions. That's what the normal everyday Joe will get when he Googles it. We went through it once on the show. It's quite sad, really.
Yeah, all they get is the presentation of the fallacy. And often, if they're going to do a YouTube search, they'll get a presentation of the fallacy at best, but more likely a decry of their opponent based on a straw man that their opponent doesn't hold. So, the general first go-to is to ridicule the opponent, to personally attack or stereotype everybody, and then personally attack the stereotype. That's their go-to. They're not going to proving Earth's flat even in a fallacious way. They're going to, these people are idiots. You're okay to ridicule these people. It's okay. That's their go-to. Yeah, we get plenty of examples in debate. You put a flat Earth proof to them, and they say, you've been going on and on and on about this flat Earth proof. Let's talk about something else. Going on and on and on is just an ad hom, right? Undermining that which has been put to them, not addressing it, and saying that you're boring by inference. Okay, well, that's an ad hom. Now let's deal with the Earth that's measured flat. 10 attempts later, you're definitely not going to be doing that with a zealot. And that's what you've established after 10 attempts. They're a zealot. So what's the excuse now? We're in a server without my control of the mute button here. That's all moderated. So what's the excuse? Why aren't we hearing any ranting and raving from globe lunatics or people on the fence? Is there a reason for that? It's definitely not my mute button, by the way. Just so we're all clear. That little excuse that people used to have. Yeah, that was just garbage, wasn't it? Because here we are in the exact same situation. No one's claiming a boycott based on mute buttons that I haven't got. So what's the excuse now? I don't seem to hear anything. It's just the stony silence of ex-globe believers, I'll assume, right? None of you guys in here believe the Earth's a sphere anymore? We can only assume. Looks like we converted the entire server. Go ahead, whoever that was.
I was just going to say that it's the deafening sound of tumbleweeds blowing by that we're hearing now because they've all been defeated.
Yeah, looks like we won. I mean, given that's the case, you'd now appreciate why we'd need to be suppressed. Yeah? This is why.
The globe's been deflated into a flat map.
Any last remarks before I round out the live show? That might entice someone to kick off, so I'll turn my studio lights on in anticipation that I am actually going to round out, but we'll see if that develops any discussion. If not, I'm going to round out and ask everyone to stay tuned for the after show. Going once.
I don't think you're going to put anybody out from underneath the woodwork just yet. But I definitely appreciate you coming along, and I look forward to the after show where maybe one of them will come out of the woodwork. Should be interesting.
We shall see. Right, going once, going twice. Okie dokie, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Pause my recording. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to today's Politics Discord server. Hopefully, one of my mods will put a link to that server so you can join it, get voice verified, or whatever it is they do to let you in that server. Also, a massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Massive thank you to my G+ panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.